Hello, in this video I will show you how to remove and replace the front CV axle or driveshaft on Mercedes C-Class W205 4MATIC. On this car we can see here the CV boot is torn and the CV joint is making noise, so we're going to be replacing the whole CV axle. First, to start by removing this engine under tray. Next, we're going to remove the wheel on where the CV axle is. Next, we're going to remove the bolt holding the CV axle to the wheel hub. Next thing, we're going to remove this the twist rod just on the top and this bolt for the upper control arm. First, to start by removing the nut for the twist rod. If the video is useful, please like and comment on the video and subscribe to the channel to see more videos like this. Next, we're going to remove this nut for the upper control arm. I'm using a long ratchet to loosen the bolt because the nut because it's very tight. When I loosened the bolt, the whole bolt joint started turning, so in order to remove the bolt completely, I'm going to hold the bolt joint from turning. I'm going to use a wrench size 32 and I'm going to hold the bolt joint from turning, and that's how I'm going to remove the nut. And that's the nut removed. We're going to take out the twist rod as well from its place, and then I'm going to be using an elastic rope to hold the whole wheel hub assembly in place. Next, I'm going to remove the brake line from these from being held onto the shock absorber. And next, I'm going to take out the CV joint from the wheel hub. That's the CV joint removed from the wheel hub. Now we need to remove the whole CV axle from the transmission. The CV axle is held on the inner side by this lock ring. We need to remove that lock ring, and then we'll take out the CV axle. These are the lock ring pliers that I'm going to be using to remove the lock ring. I'm also going to be using a screwdriver, a flathead screwdriver as well, so that when I press the lock ring, then I'll take it out with the screwdriver. And that's the lock ring out. Next, I'm going to take out the CV axle. In order to take out the CV axle, I'm going to hammer it a little bit, and it will come out. I'm just going to hammer it right there on where the CV axle starts. I'm going to be using something like that, just to hit it so that it comes out. In my case, it came out very easily. Here you can see how it's going to come out when I hit it. Now that the CV axle is out of its bed, we need to do some stuff in order to take it out completely, because the CV axle is very long, so the shock absorber and the stabilizer link are in the way. We can see here that the stabilizer bar and the twist rod are in the way, so I'll show you what to do in order to lift up the stabilizer bar. So we're going to put a jack underneath the other side on the wheel. Make sure you lock the wheel so that it doesn't turn. I've locked it with a screwdriver into the brake disc. You lift it up as much as possible, and then the stabilizer bar will go up like that. Although now we can see that also the shock absorber is a bit in our way when we try to take out the CV axle. So on this side we're going to put another jack, and we're going to lift this side up, and then the shock absorber will go up as well, and we'll manage to take it out. So now that this side is lifted as well, we're going to try and pull out the CV axle. We need to lift it a little bit more so that we make more space from the shock absorber. There still isn't enough space for the white part of the CV axle to go through the CV to go through the shock absorber. So we're going to lift up the whole suspension a little bit more, and now we'll try and take it out. We can see now there's enough space to take out the CV axle. So now the white part of the CV axle is past the shock absorber, but the stabilizer bar and the twist rod are in our way. So now we're going to bring down this jack on this side, and we're going to see how the stabilizer bar will go up, and then we can take out the CV axle. And now we have enough space to take out the CV axle. I'm just going to move this elastic rope first, so that it's not in our way to remove the CV axle, and then we'll take it out. And that's the CV axle out. We're not going to be replacing the whole CV axle, just this part on the right side where the two CV joints are. So we need to take it out from there. Sometimes it might work by hitting it, but not every time. I'm going to try to hammer it first with an air hammer. It's very stuck and it doesn't want to come out. No, nothing is happening, so I might try a different way. Since the CV axle doesn't want to come out with hammering it out, next I'm going to cut it, and that's how I'm going to take it out. I'm going to cut it from all sides, otherwise it's still not going to come out. Now I'll show you what I've cut exactly. This is what I've cut it on the two sides. Now I'm going to take this thing out, and then I'm going to continue cutting the other parts of it. I'm going to cut it like that all the way around, and just I'm going to take these metal things one by one until the drive shaft just comes out. Now I'm going to try and hammer it out to see if it will work, but if it doesn't work, I'm going to have to cut the rest of it. We can see it doesn't work, it doesn't move at all, so I'm going to cut the rest of it. Here we can see it started moving a little bit, so it should come out now, and that's the CV axle off. That metal clip right there is making all the problems for the CV axle to come out. And now I'm going to show you the old CV axle. Look how I've cut it. That's it. That's the old CV axle. Now I'm going to put the new CV axle on. In order to put the new CV axle on, you just put it in there. You might want to lubricate it a little bit with grease and just hammer it in. You need another person, somebody to hold it in place, so while the other person just hammers it in. It should go in fairly easily. I don't have the best view of how I hammer it in, but I just explained, so just hammer it in and it will go in all the way. Here you can see the CV axle is in all the way. Now we can go and put it on the car. Putting it on the car is in the exact reverse order of removing it. First we're going to put it in just some part of it, and then we're going to jack this wheel up. At this moment the other wheel is jacked up so that the stabilizer bar is high in order to put it in some part of the way. And next we're going to jack up this part of this wheel. You might want to get somebody to go underneath the car so that he will guide the CV axle into the transmission. We've put it in as much as possible, but the shock absorber now is in the way, so now next we're going to lift up the whole wheel, the whole suspension on this side in order for the shock absorber to go up, and that's how we're going to bring the CV axle all the way in. Now that the shock absorber has gone up, we're going to put the CV axle all the way into the transmission and onto the wheel hub. We can see that the CV axle is in its place. Now we're going to put the CV joint into the wheel hub, and then we're going to put the locking ring on the other side. We can also remove the jack on this side because the CV axle is already in. Here we can see that the CV axle is not in all the way, so we're going to hammer it a little bit more just to go in all the way. And now we can see the CV axle is all the way in. Now we can put on the lock ring. And that's the lock ring in there. Next we're going to put the outer CV joint into the wheel hub and then assemble everything else in the reverse order. Now in order to put the nut that holds the wheel hub assembly to the upper control arm, first we're going to lift up the whole suspension, because this way the suspension will be lifted up and it will be easier to put in the nut. And now we're going to put on the nut for the upper control arm and also the nut for the twist rod. Next we're going to tighten the nut for the upper control arm and also for the twist rod. And then the only thing left to do is put the bolt holding the CV axle to the wheel hub, and then we're done. Hopefully the video was helpful. Please like and comment on the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.